The story of first impression actually started when I got pregnant. So when I told people, I do live casting. Casting? Is it involve movies? Does it involve, no, it's live casting. It was something completely new. I remember leaving for work and, having a bawling child home. Because, that of course is like guilt to another level, and you would, leave everything and stay back. That guilt I never let, get heavy on me.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Kidsstoppress Podcast. And this one's going to be really, really special because I have with me not only a friend, but I would call her a visionary because she really brought live casting. Like she's probably the first and the only one that comes to mind when you think of it. Her brand First Impressions is the one that pops into your head the minute you're thinking of cherishing those most beautiful memories that come once in a lifetime. Meeting the chief artist at First Impressions and a really, really dear friend I've known over a decade now, Bhavna.
Yes.
So welcome and thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I have so much to tell you and so much to tell your audience that I'm actually gearing to go.
Super. Bhavna, everybody knows who you are today. I want to know, Bhavna as a kid, the family, what happened, how were you this full of life, passionate individual, and I must add, the most hardworking person I've seen. She's so passionate about her craft that I think it automatically makes her hardworking. So Bhavna, tell me a little bit about the growing up years, family, and of course, how did First Impressions come by?
So we are a Sikh family, and a Sikh family always has fun and frolic. We're always enjoying ourselves. So we're a very happy bunch. So growing up, very happy, and things make you very confident because you have, a lot of love in the family and a lot of freedom, I would say, to do things that you want to do. Of course, at a very early age, my parents realized that this is a very individual child and, will really do what she wants to do. And they were very encouraging. So, it began young where I was allowed to do things that I wanted to do. And it kind of molded my personality to be the kind of person I am. They gave me a voice and I could talk.
Right, and you're born and raised in Bombay.
I'm born and raised in Bombay, though a large part of my growing up was in Dubai, because my father moved there. He was, he had a business, so the family moved there. So the best of both worlds.
Amazing. And what did you study? What was college life like? How did you know always that you wanted to do what you're doing today?
So this is something quite funny. I was really brilliant in academics. Okay, that's not the funny part, but the funny part's coming. So I was so good. There was never a time when I actually didn't stand first in class. So it was like that, And I would come home and, if I went for a competition, whether it was elocution or whatever, and, I would open the door and my father would be sitting on the dining table and he would say, "Where's the cup? Where's the prize?" So the family, of course, knew that, there's a performer we have there and she'll excel. So obviously when you do so well in your studies and everything, then the natural, at least the time that I was growing up, you had to be a science student.
Yeah.
So either you became a doctor or you
Trust me, nothing has changed.
The boys had to go in engineering and the girls had to go in medical. So what happened is that we did a little tour, with my dad to medical college and the kind of state of the dorms there frightened my father to the limit that he says, "Listen, darling, you do anything you want, but just don't be a doctor because I don't see my child living, and the kind of toilets, I'm talking about like 30, 35 years ago. So it's not easy for a dad to see, that kind of facility and let your child go into that with open eyes. So then it was like, okay, can't do this. So I actually opted to do microbiology. And again, I was a topper in my BSc and my MSc and, I did my parents proud.
I had no idea that Bhavna was an MSc. That's amazing.
Yes.
Does anybody know the story? Have you ever shared it?
I think I've shared it on a few platforms. Yeah, I think I have.
Oh.
Because quite honestly, and that to a university topper. I've done my MS on President's Scholarship.
Wow.
So, there was this, but always, the fashionista. So, usually the science stream had very serious, those glasses and well-oiled plaits and, those regular jeans and top kind. And then there was this diva who'd walk in with colored hair. So I was quite maybe a sight to see there. I'm not sure, but my teachers loved me. Because they love children who do well, who work hard. And, that streak was always there. Yeah. Whatever I did, I had to excel.
And that hasn't changed. That really hasn't changed.
Yes.
So MSc हुआ, फिर क्या हुआ?
So MS happened, and my father was in Dubai, so I moved to Dubai, and it was difficult, those times, because the Middle East was not the place for any research happening or anything exciting that I was already into. So again, how life would have it. I was actually, in conversation with a gentleman that I met at a party, and he was the marketing head of Gulf News.
Uh-huh.
So we had a conversation, and he said, you're such a marketing person. How come you're in the science stream? I said, maybe unfortunately when you do so well in your studies, your parents or you at that point of time are so close, because you always want to get into the science stream because that's like the respected, place to be there. And he said, no, you are a marketeer. You have to join me in Gulf News. And I was like, I have never done anything like that.
Right.
And he said, no, I want to give you a chance. I've enjoyed this conversation. You've held my attention, and you're such a marketeer. So as a lark, I walked into his office, the next day, and I landed up a job in Gulf News in Dubai. And whilst I was in Gulf News and I was, marketing for them, and Al Futtaim Motors was ready to launch Toyota. Well, they were ready to launch Lexus, and they wanted a face for Lexus. They said, we want somebody who can talk to somebody in the royal family. We want somebody who has the confidence to talk to maybe the head of a corporation. We want the girl to have confidence to talk to maybe a billionaire who wants to buy the Lexus. So, they said, they had been interacting with me in Gulf News, and they said, you're the one. And I was like, car? No, I don't know what to do, But again, I guess maybe the confidence and the way, your parents bring you up, it's all there. You don't have to be shy. You don't have to be scared. You just have to go there and perform.
Yeah.
And I joined Gulf News.
Wow.
So all of that, but then you fall in love. and then, my husband came along, and then I moved back.
And he was based out of India.
He was based out of India, and we met through a common friend and everything, and that brought me back to India. So again, it was like a fresh start. Okay, now I'm back here. But
and when was this? What timeline?
So I knew him when I was 26. I met him then, and he was all of 19 then. I mean, I was 25. He was 19. I remember, and and we were young. Life was taking its own path, and he needed time to settle down and everything. So I said, okay, now that I'm here and I'm want to be back and want to invest into the relationship, because he was just wonderful. And then I started my own.
So you have a
marketing.
6-year gap between.
We have a 6-year gap between us. Yes.
And parents, no friction. Everybody.
We're both. I'm Sardar. He's Punjabi. We're pretty much the same, community. But I'm not too sure if I actually told my parents this difference. For a very, very long time, and they never asked, and what you don't know never hurts.
Oh my God!
Yeah, but seriously,
The kids are also listening on the podcast.
Yeah, but I just.
पता है या नहीं पता है?
No, of course. Everybody eventually realizes it and finds out, and you have to. But I personally feel that you have to choose the person irrespective of caste, community, age, race. He has to make you feel comfortable. He has to make you grow. He has to make you evolve. He has to keep your heart happy. And if all those criteria you meet in a person, then I guess that's the person you have to fall in love with and marry.
Amazing. And someone you loved so deeply that you actually moved countries.
I moved back, because I really loved him so much. I loved him as a person. He could make me laugh. He's so intelligent. He was food for the mind, body, soul, all of it. And it was like an investment. So you go like, no, it's worth coming back.
Oh, I've never heard that one before, but like it's worth the investment, but amazing.
Yeah.
No, but I totally get it. I think when you find that one person that, kind of makes you feel complete.
Oh, absolutely.
Everything just seems
Absolutely. Yes,
to be
yes,
worth it.
yes.
And then what happened?
So I moved back, and by that time, I was completely in the marketing avatar. So I had to continue with, anything that involved marketing. And we set up a marketing, agency, and we were picking up very, very good accounts. We were marketing, presenting very good luxurious properties, and, we were doing a lot of really good work. So whilst that was happening, and, then the proposal came and the marriage happened while all that was going on. And then the story of first impression actually started when I got pregnant.
Okay.
So my father-in-law and, basically my in-laws, they always felt, that she's not fussing like a pregnant woman. She's not wanting to eat pani puri. She's not wanting to, go for a movie. Subhe tyaar okay, she's just going to the office. And, why does she want to do those things? you
Yeah.
know? So they told my husband, what, surprise her. Just whisk her off to London, do some baby shopping and indulge her and, let her, because we feel bad, that every morning she gets up and she wants to go to work.
Yeah.
I loved it, not that I was complaining,
Yeah.
it was just amazing. I loved waking up every morning and going for a new challenge. But anyway, this happened and my husband whisked me off to London and I chanced upon this beautiful concept at a friend's home. So when I looked at it, maybe, the maternal hormones were doing their role, or maybe, it was destiny that made me chance upon the concept. And I told my friend, I said, this is so beautiful. Why don't we have something like this in our country? And she says, I really don't know, but the lady who does it here, she's so famous, Bhavna. Honestly, if you try to get an appointment, you may not get an appointment for the next maybe 1 month. And, I'm a marketing person. And I'm like, wow. I'm sitting in England, in London, where, if your kid is like 17, 18, you're already talking to the child and telling him, listen, buddy, get your own house, you have to move out.
Yeah.
And this lady has no time for a month. I am coming from India, where people provide for their children, their grandchildren, and maybe some more. We are the emotional people.
Yeah.
Why don't we have this? And why am I not taking this to India?
Yeah.
So the brain started working. So I told her, I said, listen, why don't we get an appointment? And I want to meet the lady. And she said, listen, you're pregnant. This is my gift to you. So when you have a baby and you visit London next time, I will gift this to you. I said, okay, that's fine. But I still want to meet her because I want to know. I want to know what her journey is and how does she do this and everything. So she said, I'll give you the number, Bhavna, but I'm very sure you won't get an appointment. I said, all right, give me the number, worth a try. So I called the office, and rightly so. She said, sorry, the next appointment will be available only after 22 days. I said, all right. You know how we Indians are?
Yeah.
When we don't have a doctor's appointment, what do? We just go and we show up. We just sit there,
Jugaad.
hoping that somebody will not come, or some appointment will finish early and there'll be like a 10-minute slot and you will get to see the doctor. So I told my husband, we need to go. And well, the first day he humored me, obviously, you have to humor your pregnant wife. So he came with me, we sat at the waiting area. I went and introduced myself to the receptionist and she said, you don't have an appointment, so she won't see you. I said, no worries, I'll wait here in case one of your appointments doesn't show up or somebody is early late and you can manage a slot. She looked absolutely disinterested. Like, don't do this, it doesn't happen here. Ill-mannered, whatever. I went and took my little place, waiting for the opportunity. Didn't happen the first day, didn't happen the second day. Third day, my husband literally looked at me and he says, baby, I think thoda hormones are doing a little tough job, Now you're going and sitting. And, he wanted to be really, I would say, very supportive. But he also wanted me to get a reality check on this, So he said, you sit there. We sat there for 3 hours yesterday. Your back must be hurting, Babu.
Actually, his back
So,
was
yeah, exactly. So let's take an appointment and go gracefully, We'll get to meet. And I was like, okay, you know what? If you have something else to do, you carry on. But I'm going to go back there. On the 5th day, I mean it, Mansi, I'm telling you, I was destined to bring this art to India. Because I am not the person, I have never been one to take no as it means no. I've always grown up believing that no means not now. It doesn't mean never. There's a time when a person can say, no, I don't want it but it doesn't mean 3 years later you don't want it.
Yeah.
You know, there's a time for everything. So, 5th day, the secretary by now was absolutely certain that I'm a stalker. So she actually came up and she said, you know what, I think you're a stalker. And I said, you know, darling, I'm pregnant. I'm 5 months pregnant. And this is the 5th day that I've come to see you. If I was a stalker, I promise you, I would have struck your head on the 3rd day. So please, please, please understand, I really want to meet the lady. I'm just asking for 5-10 minutes, nothing much out of the, book. And she says, okay, I'm going to check with the lady because, I honestly think I don't want to see your face again for the next 3 days because you'll probably come again. She was quite cut and dry there. She went inside and maybe the lady said, okay, pregnant, doesn't matter. Let me meet her for 10 minutes and be done with it since she's coming for 5 days,
Yeah.
So I walked in and she, sweet old lady, very graceful, pearl necklace, gorgeous. And I said, I am so enamored by your art and, India is a land of emotions. We love our families. This art will do so beautifully in India. Why don't you let me take it to India? So she said, I'm very surprised. I've been doing this for the last 20 years. Nobody has actually come to me and ever said this to me. So, okay, but are you ready for the expenses? They don't know Indians, they don't. She doesn't know me from Adam. She doesn't know where I come from. What is my economic status? I said, all right, let me know what you will charge for training me and helping me source everything and all the material and everything. And she says, are you sure? Because it could be kind of really expensive. I'm like, okay, try me. And my husband was sitting, next to me, and he was like, okay, I don't know now what's happening here. And she threw a figure at us. And I didn't even have to look at Joe. And I just said, I'm ready. She was quite taken aback, like, okay, not even thinking about it. But, I had already thought about it for the 5 days that I was waiting outside.
Yeah.
My marketing plan was ready. I was mentally ready to take the art to the country. So for me, there was no more thinking. It was action time. So I stayed back almost 2.5 months training. With a big tummy, it's not easy to sit and, learn casting and do so many practice sessions.
You learned it while you were pregnant?
While I was pregnant, in the 5th month of my pregnancy. I launched it on the 11th day that my Tia was born. And I never looked back.
Wow.
Yes.
This kind of ziddi is good ziddi.
Yes.
Like the whole rigor has just transformed your journey, Bhavna.
Yes.
The persistence, the perseverance, the rejection, redirection.
All these, perseverance, patience, it's all so important.
Yeah. But that's amazing. That's really, and is India probably the second country, or there are other countries that she then moved outsourced?
So, actually what happened is that she was already in her, when I met her, she was in her early 70s. So she was an elderly person. And it was really sweet. I must tell you about this incident. So she, told me that, you're going to India and, you're the first person that I've ever trained. And I'm going to be really happy when you complete your 100th client. Please do call me, and I would love to share the happiness with you. Quite honestly, I was very sure she thought that I'll take a year, I'll take 2 years, I'll take 3 years to call her and say, okay, I've finished 100. I finished it in 3 months.
Wow.
First
and
3
back in
months.
the day,
so when I called her, she actually told me, she says, are you sure? I meant 100. I meant 100. Have you finished 100 clients? I said, yes. And there are so many more. I'm just dying to do more and more every day.
Yeah.
And she was so happy for me. But of course, just 3 years down the line, that I started, she passed away.
Wow.
And I did go and, I did pay my respect to her because she really gave me a new career. She gave me a new identity.
Right.
There's a lot to thank her for.
So Tia in many ways has been really the founder because of her, you literally went to London.
Yes.
And I find this so amazing that both our journeys have actually started from motherhood, right?
Yes,
literally.
Totally.
Whether it's mine, whether it's yours, because if you weren't pregnant, you wouldn't have gone
absolutely.
to London. Everything else would have come.
For sure.
Tell me, how was the initial bit? Because casting really takes you to go there physically.
Yes.
Leaving 11-day-old baby and going to different places and completing, people take 3 months maternity break. Aapne to 3 mahine mein you'd finish 100.
100.
So how did you do that?
So I have to tell you something which I have said on many platforms. they always say this, that behind every successful man, there may or may not be a woman.
Yeah.
But behind every successful woman,
There has to be a
there
man.
has to be a family. It could be your parents, it could be your in-laws, it could be your husband, it could be your immediate extended family, whoever is supportive of what you're doing. It's really, really very important. So obviously when I had my daughter, it was, I was also a first-time mom. But how I trained myself for it is that I absolutely believe that the day I delivered Tia, I delivered twins. So first impression and Tia are always going to be siblings, twin siblings, and I gave both as much love and attention that a mother would give her two children.
Amazing.
So again, for me, it was not like I'm leaving my child to go to work. It was like, no, now I've done my attention with one child and the other child needs my attention. So like a mother never feels guilty, looking after two children and giving them their individual time. That guilt I never let get heavy on me, because my family never let that dawn on me. They were so supportive. My in-laws, my husband, of course, always there. There have been times when I used to travel for work and he's gone for parent-teacher meetings alone, and very proudly told the teacher that no, my wife was busy and she was traveling, and we actually couldn't she couldn't get out of the travel. So here I am.
Yeah.
So I think that all of that put together really helped my journey and be where I am. Yeah.
Right. So how many years is it to first impression? Because now we're going to try. Guys, I've tried this before. I'm going to try it again. Get some secret sauce out of the marketer on how she really does it. and what makes her like so relevant even after 2 decades?
2 decades, yes.
2 decades.
Yes.
And literally, like, when you think of casting, you only think of her. I really want to know the secret sauce to that, Bhavna. So tell me, Tell me the first decade, the second decade, and of course, how have you managed to keep it?
So the first decade for sure was working very hard, because, when I brought the casting art to the country, there were people who were absolutely new to this. This was not, it could not be slotted into a product, where people knew. It was not like clothes, it was not like jewelry, it was not like bags and shoes that people already knew and you were just another person who launched a different line or a different style. It was something completely new. So when I told people, I do live casting. Casting? Is it involve movies? Does it involve no, it's live casting. So okay, then I said, okay, let me make it easier for them. So I took off the term and I said, you know what, I make impressions of hand and feet, because now it makes it a little easier for people to understand. And people were like, okay, so what will we do with it? Okay, we love it, but what will we do with it? And then you actually had to even, go to basics, like telling them, like, listen, today your child is born, and after 10 years, your child's going to be a young child, and you're going to miss that feel of the tiny hand and feet. And I could actually see their expressions going like, yeah, we must do it. So the first decade, I would say, was so much of marketing of the concept, making people actually believe that they need it. And they need it. Everybody needs to freeze this happy moment, whether it's their kids, whether it's just couples holding hands, whether it's Ashirwad of your parents, we all need it.
Yeah.
So the first decade, of course, went in that. The next decade actually went in enjoying the fruits of my labor. It was a successful run. It was a dream run. I thought of a person and he just came into the camp. They were customers and they referred me to so many more people. The patrons just grew and grew and grew, and it was like a chain reaction.
Right.
Everybody who made a frame with me and put it up on their walls, that frame became a brand ambassador.
Yeah.
It was something that you couldn't miss. So assuming you went to somebody's home and they had, really beautiful art adorning the walls, they would never show off and say, oh, have you seen this new painting that I've just bought, or this new sculpture that I've new bought? Because people assume that it's a little crass, talking about, your pretty things in your home. But if anybody came to your home and said, what, have you seen the impressions that I made of my baby? Let me show it to you.
Yeah.
So, it was just, they were actually marketing the concept for me.
Right.
So again,
And tell me, when you started it almost 20 years ago, what was the price point?
So, honestly, we started with a very humble price point because we wanted to first establish the market and introduce it to people. So we actually started a frame that costed about 10,000. But to be honest, 10,000 even at the time that I launched was definitely not in the I don't want to use the word cheap, but not in the.
It was expensive 20 years ago.
Yes, but what I wanted to do with the product, it was very ambitious.
Right.
So I always knew that that's going to be my start point, but the end point, I know where I wanted to take it. It had to be a piece of luxury. So the price point, I started it there, but I absolutely knew, Mansi, that I have to take it to the next level. It never ever came to my mind while growing and while bringing, different ranges and making our product more and more innovative and also creative and also, changing the quality from A to Z. It never came to our mind that, we want to come up with a cheap option and, cut corners here. And for me, I always wanted it to be a piece of art, a piece of luxury, a piece that you want to enjoy even 2 decades later, and yet look at it and say, wow, it's still as if I've just made it yesterday. So obviously, if you want to bring that kind of quality, then you can't compromise on the price and you can't compromise on the service, on everything else that you offer. So we concentrated less on the price point and more on giving a fabulous product.
Amazing. And tell me, everybody, like you said, that you thought of a person and the person was casted, first impression.
Yes.
How does that process work, in a sense that you go about approaching people? Do you manifest it and say, okay, now I will find the road to get to that person? How did that happen, Bhavna?
So I very much believe in the power of manifestation. Okay, it holds true not only for you in business, but it also holds true for you in your life. Today, if you have an ambition and you think about it and you work towards it, manifestation is not just closing your eyes and meditating and say, I want this. You have to, of course, have that thought, but also you have to be very sure that, you're going to make it happen. And then you put a path forward. You make a way, you make, a complete roadmap as to how you're going to get there. So we were at least me and my team, I always refer to, myself as we, because I just believe I'm nobody without my team, So we always manifest. So if there is, say, a big wedding happening and we hear about the wedding, obviously the first thing in the radar is that, okay, there's a big wedding happening, guys, so we have to get there. And then, of course, you find out who are the common links and who are the people who have already done work with you. And if they want to be happy to extend this as a gift. So we it's all a part of our marketing process, like any other business. But we are not into very head-on direct marketing as to putting ads and all. We like to do a little undercurrent marketing, but something which is very sure.
Right.
So we always set our targets and make sure we go for the kill.
And tell me, all of this while, how were you managing with Tia, and how was she seeing her mom as this go-getter who's incredibly charged and knows exactly what she wants?
So Tia, by the grace of God, is the best child a mom can ever ask for. Ever, a parent can ask for. She was so supportive. There's not a time that I remember leaving for work and, having a bawling child home. Because, that of course is like guilt to another level, and you would, leave everything and stay back. She always gave me that winner's smile when I was leaving in the morning. So it always, she was a happy child. So, every time I looked at her and I was like, okay, no, she's good. She's smiling. She's happy. And it was easy to go to work, with a child who looked happy and literally wishing you a good, mom, do well, go ahead and take on the world. So she was a really great child. She was, good in school. She grew up, very confident, and she was very encouraging. Also a great critic, because, there were times we were working on a frame and she said, Mom, supposing we did this, do you think it would look a bit better? And I was like, why don't we think of it? Because there's always fresher ideas. Everybody has their own creative streak that they bring to, the table. And she had her own creative streak. Because every year when we did a frame for her, she would decide. She said, no, Mom, I'm going to plan my own frame. I'm going to decide the creativity. And that also brought in so much.
Right.
Because, when she was little, of course, we had the tiny hand and feet. But then, the day she turned 5 and the day she turned 10, you wanted different concepts for that age group.
Yeah.
Because if you just did the hand and feet, then they wouldn't, a 10-year-old child, his hand and
Yeah.
feet are not going to look as attractive as, some tiny babies. So one day she actually came up with this. She says, Mom, this year for my birthday, I'm going to make a heart. So I said, wow, that's really sweet. So she says, I said, okay, Tia, but why the heart? And she said, Mom, for me, this part is dad and this part is mom. And when I put it together, then it's my heart. So this is what I want for my 10th birthday.
Lovely.
So we actually did, the heart concept first on her 10th birthday.
Yeah.
So child is the father of man. She always came up with these, lovely ideas, and she's just amazing.
Right. And of course, she's an entrepreneur herself and studying. And you've been a big guiding force in that whole process. Tell me now, with so much happening, how many castings have you done?
We've crossed, now they run into lakhs.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Guys, that's justifying the diamonds that she's wearing.
Oh God.
No, but on a serious note, I think, how have you made yourself so synonymous? And is it part of the plan that if anybody thinks of live casting, they have to think of Bhavna Jasra?
This is so much a part of the plan. It's not even funny.
It's not accidental.
No, not at all. It's a conscious effort and a very, very conscious effort. So this is the brief to my team. That one, I will give you the product that nobody can even come close. There are a lot of people who are, trying to, they actually want to go to our, Insta or our web pages and try to pick up the same concept. But we just make it so difficult for them. Because the kind of quality and, expertise and the kind of style we bring into our work, it's really makes us the trendsetter, And also what happens is earlier, when we started the business, a lot of people wanted to do it for their personal joys. So I would want to do it for my daughter, somebody would want to do it for their son, somebody would want to do it for their parents. But over the years what happened is because we built such a good profile for the product, now people attach it to a luxury that they want to gift. So there are so many, illustrious weddings that happen of, celebrities and, very celebrated people. And you want to give them a gift, but you don't want to evaluate them to evaluate it with the
price tag.
Yeah. So you want to give, and also, today people have, at a wedding, assume, you get so many gifts. What
How
you
does
do
yours stand out?
exactly, and the only way you will stand out if the thing is so personal and they are a part of it, you are automatically ensured that it's going to get place of pride in their home, and they're going to always remember you. Like maybe even 10 years later, they'll say, "Oh, you remember Mansi and her husband had given us this." You've immortalized yourself, by giving that gift. So today, it's become, a huge part of our work is really gifting. For the weddings and for the babies, and we have corporate houses with which we have a tie-up with. They don't even think; they just give us the number of the client and they say, "All right, you have to go and gift it to this person, or you have to go and gift it to that person." And we have a running order going into a whole year with them. Because they just feel that there's nothing which is they would want better than give something like this to a person they love. So it's become now, and obviously when you're gifting it, you also want the image attached to it. You don't want it to be just anybody. So obviously you want to. So it's literally asking the question, "ये वाला gift देना है, किसको बुलाया जाए? Oh, भावना ही है." It's like that. So that is a conscious effort. Like the first name that should ever come to anybody's mind is us.
And what have you done to achieve that?
We work very hard, okay? So obviously the team, we
So when you're hardworking and hustle, that goes with her name, guys. Let me assure you that.
Yes, it does.
We need to know more.
Yes, it does. So the team constantly works on leads and constantly works on information as to who's getting married and also I have a huge I have a lot of friends in the industry, the film industry, the sports industry. My brother-in-law is a very prominent cricketer, Harbhajan Singh. So So we do know
Yeah.
a lot of things which are happening and, around with the celebrity world. And obviously then you set your targets. Like I said, you look at the possible people who would want to give them.
Yeah.
Like I'll tell you something, it was like now, when Pariniti and Raghav got married, we had almost 5 people who wanted to gift them.
Oh.
Different quarters, everybody approached us, but our approach is whoever approaches us first, that's who we go with,
Right.
And the same went for Karan Johar's kids. So again, when a prominent personality is having a baby or getting married, there are like lots of people who are scouting for the best gift.
Yeah.
And the best person to do that.
She still hasn't given us the answer. How? No, seriously. So how do you... So I understand that you have a network and you want to ask people and you obviously want to approach. But how do you translate that back onto your digital strategy or your conversations or...
So again, I'll have to be honest on that. When I go to a celebrity's home, okay, they've already been briefed a little bit about who's coming, and obviously they want to know, right? So the person who's going to give them the gift is has already spoken to them that Bhavna is going to come, and obviously because they are giving the gift, they want to also make it a point that it's not like a nobody and she's really done for everybody. So they've done a lot of marketing for me already.
Right.
So when I go there and say we're talking about a Sachin Tendulkar, okay? Now he will think, oh, okay, she's done for this person and that person, and they're also in my fraternity and they've loved it and I've seen their work. So they're kind of mentally so ready to receive you, and they're not really expecting somebody, who's just coming to do some work and leave. They are expecting a person with whom they want to have a little conversation, know more about. Like Amir, I remember when we did Amir and his wedding with Kiran Rao. He was so curious. He sat me down, and I remember I'd gone with Rani Mukherjee, who actually gifted it to them at that time. He wanted to know so much about it, and the conversation we thought really would take about 10 minutes. I sat in his home for almost 1.5 hours. So that comfort level really comes because of the person who's gifting it or who's already given the kind of brief about you.
Right.
So that helps a lot. And also, when you've built a profile, then you're going with that kind of a happy baggage along, where the person receives you better.
Right.
So even if you say you want to film this a little bit, if they're too private, then they'll tell you, okay, we're a little private, we don't want to do a little social media and everything. But then, if they're willing to do a picture with me and they're willing to talk, just maybe give a little bit of a bite about what they just did and things like that, I guess we pretty much managed to get some things out.
Right. Amazing. That's about what you've done professionally, Bhavna. But I also see, when I see your Instagram page, I also see a woman who's so full of life, so full of energy. I know you just did a trek right now. You were traveling. You celebrated your 50th unabashedly. Like that picture of you in that red dress.
Yeah.
I still remember it. I don't know how many months ago was that, but I still do. How do you show up so authentically on Instagram, and how do you handle all the criticism that comes along with it?
So, this is again a question I would really like to answer. So, I wake up every morning, and you wake up in the morning and you have a perception of yourself. When you're ready to take on the world. I wake up every morning believing that I'm a queen. Okay? Nobody has to tell me that. Nobody has to make, I have my husband who makes me feel like a queen every morning. Okay, I wake up in the morning and I already have that crown which I have to just adjust a little bit on my head. That's the kind of confidence I have given myself, in the years that I've been growing up, and obviously the way I want to live my life. I want to live life queen size. You have one life, you have to make the most of it. So the enthusiasm and the happiness and the love is really something which is very intrinsic in me as a personality, and I want to celebrate everything. So whether it's a birthday, whether it's my 50th birthday, whether it's my pooch's first birthday. So for Lucifer, he's popularly called Loosh Boy. So Loosh Boy's first birthday it was covered by Brute India. Because my daughter flew down from London, and we had a Gucci birthday for him. He was wearing a Gucci jacket. He was wearing a Gucci, collar and a leash. And we had it at the sanctuary with, oh my God, we didn't leave a single stone unturned, okay? We did it for our happiness because we really, I mean, for me, he was my child, right?
Yeah.
So I would celebrate it as I would celebrate my daughters. But when we posted it, we had so much backlash from people, literally saying that, I don't even want to go through the comments, but comments like, why would you want to waste so much money on a dog's birthday? But I just feel people should understand that, one, maybe I am in that economic status where I can do it. Second, he's not my dog. He's my child. So if I would celebrate my child's birthday, I will celebrate his birthday. So I am, not really looking for, I would say, this kind of advice from Instagram. I look at the people who enjoyed it, who put the happiest comments, wishing him happy birthday. So I think Instagram, you have to really compartmentalize yourself. If you're in the public space, there will be people who will love your life. There are people who tell me, we open your post every morning because we just want to see your smiling face take on the world. I love that. Why would I want to look at maybe the 112th comment telling me that, show off or whatever, putting it in our face there? I guess you have to just compartmentalize yourself and pick up the positive things and just let that encourage you and go on.
Right.
Yeah, simple. I mean, in public life, you'll get a bit of both.
Right.
So you just have to realize what you want and pick that up and just go ahead.
Right. Tell me, when you're doing, when you're doing this, obviously there is this whole, and I say this, we're a very small part of the society where we're privileged.
Yes.
That we can wake up and do everything that we want to do and still, and be so unapologetic about it, right? And obviously people look at it as, wow, she's so privileged, in spite of being a mother or in spite of being, I mean, you're not really a creator, according to me, and like we rightly discussed, you're an artist. How do you demarcate the line between saying that, yes, so what if I'm a mom? I'm still going to go ahead and do this. You don't need to typecast me because I know what I'm doing. How do you get that confidence?
So that confidence would stem from choosing the space that you want to be in and you enjoy it the most. Okay, now lifestyle influencing actually is a very natural progression that happened to me about 3 to 4 years ago. Because a lot of brands realized that they would want to tap the audience that follows me.
Yeah.
And I actually didn't look at it. It was not something I was even considering doing because I'm so busy with my work that honestly having something else and more on my plate was really not in the plan.
Right.
But when they approached me, it made kind of sense to me because I realized that every time I traveled for work, I would stay in the best of the properties. I would, enjoy all the facilities available in the property and post about it, that okay, I'm in Ahmedabad and I'm here to do work but I'm living in this fancy place and oh wow, they serve me a great Gujarati thali and there's an amazing spa in the property. And I realized that was becoming my strength. Because my followers were really happy to see my lifestyle as well.
Right.
And every time we put a lifestyle post, it just got a lot of engagement.
Right.
So it was, again, a natural progression and the team really felt that, ma'am, you present everything so nicely and, people want to watch it. Why don't we make this a dedicated trip? So actually the Taj was very supportive and they came up with the idea and I knew a lot of right people in the space. And they said that, what, Bhavna, why don't you start staying in whichever city you go, we'll host you at the Taj and present our properties, in the proper light. With the Taj came the Marriotts, came the Hyatts, and before I realized every good luxury property wanted to work with us.
Right.
In fact, when I, completed 200K, now, to a lot of people, like, okay, 200K.
Yeah.
What's the big deal about 200K? We are talking about people who have done millions.
Yeah.
We had Taj Rambagh, which is one of the most snooty properties in the country, ready to host us.
Wow.
They invited us. We did a full-fledged photo shoot in the property. They even pulled out the vintage car of the Maharaja.
Yes, I remember seeing
and I'm
that.
probably the only one who has stuck a 200 on that car. And they let us. I mean, it was kind of them. Of course, we made sure that it was done, in a way that we didn't hurt anything or damage the car. But again, coming to the fact that even our 200K was so important.
Yeah.
Because it came with a lot of people in there who were our buyers. Who had people with deep pockets, who are well-heeled, who, understood luxury. So it just started coming naturally to us, and then we realized that yes, it's making great content. I'm enjoying it. It is really the way I want to live.
Tell me, do you ever go through this process where, like, dude, does age play a number as a woman? Like, dude, I'm 50, I'm a mom.
Yeah.
I'm actually an entrepreneur, and I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Does that thought process, does that filter ever come through?
So that filter came in much initially before I got into lifestyle. I did filter it. I won't deny that. Because there are a lot of areas in lifestyle influencing. There's beauty, there's fashion, there's travel, luxury, leisure, all of that. And I was very happy to be in the space of travel and lives and luxury, hospitality, particularly looking at properties which are, luxury, super luxury hotels, palaces, spa resorts. So that slot, rather than choosing to be in fashion. Because I honestly felt that there are much younger people in the space, and they're doing a phenomenal job, and I love watching them. And I don't think I want to get into a space where I'm trying very hard to maybe look as lovely, or I want to look my age. I want to look graceful. I want to do things that make me. It's not that I've not done a photo shoot. I mean, we went to Taj Exotica in the Maldives. I've done a photo shoot for the opening of Raffles in Udaipur. It was the first flagship property, and I've done a fabulous photo shoot. But I've done things that, have resonated with my style in keeping with the kind of image that I want to project.
Yeah.
That's very important to me. And it's a very conscious effort. I'm a very planned person. I like to plan my path well, so that there are no rude surprises and shocks. And so I'm enjoying the space that I have.
Tell me, if you were to
myself.
sum up to say that these 3 or 4 things makes Bhavna Jasra the successful woman, mother that she is today, what would those be?
So I would say the top of the line would be being a happy and a content person myself. I don't think anybody who's not a happy person from within can give happiness to anybody. You have to have a cup full to be able to offer it to other people, right? So I think it's very happy to do things that keep you and make you a happy person. That's very important. Second thing, I think from an entrepreneur's point of view, is absolutely time management. You can do a million things in a day if you've planned your day properly. Everything is planned. Like I said, my whole career, my path, I like to chalk things out. I like to plan, and I like to put a time frame on things that I want to do. And then, it's much easier reaching for your goals, because there's a lot of planning that has gone into everything, So I think that is very important, that you put your plans in place, and of course, then, put your effort accordingly. What needs to be put where.
Right. Do you often, and because a large part of who we are is on social media, how do you escape or fall into the comparison trap?
I'll be honest, I've been very fortunate. I do not, even in the business, the place that I'm in, I honestly don't think I can be compared to anybody. The head start is really huge.
Yeah.
So even if somebody has to even think of like, okay, who's the second person? I think he'll take about 1 hour. So that comparison in that slot, I think I've been fortunate. I've worked very hard to make that head start, big enough that I'm able to enjoy that space. When it comes to lifestyle influencing, yes, there are a lot of people. And a lot of people are also doing travel, and a lot of people are also doing travel and luxury. It's not that I'm, the only one. But yes, I have slotted a place, because when I go to a property, I'm not just going there to, enjoy the property and talk about. I'm there as a businesswoman. I walk into the city. So I'll tell you, basically, when we were approached by JW Marriott, Mussoorie, they said, oh, Bhavna, we want you to come to our property, enjoy the property, and, talk about the property. So the next question I asked them is, tell me what more is there in Mussoorie? So I have actually taken a very different approach. I don't really go only to the property and, enjoy the benefits of the property and put it out there. Because then at some point of time, it'll start looking like a business,
Yeah.
Like, okay, there's some monetizing happening or some, benefits happening, and that's why the property is being promoted. For me, it's about, why did I go to the city?
Yeah.
And when I went to the city, why did I choose this property?
Yeah.
And I try to match a lot of things in that property. Like, I am an absolute food lover. Anybody who knows me, friends, family, know that, food tops my list. It tops the list for all Sardars, actually. We love food, okay? So I always, tell them that, okay, you have restaurants, they offer the best of the stuff, but tell me, what is it that you will do different with me?
Right.
I don't want to put the same things on the page that the next person who comes to cover your property will do.
Right.
So I've always tried to get the best out of them.
Yeah.
And I've tried to make content different.
Right.
Yeah.
Bhavna, you've had the most amazing, incredible journey. Are there moments where you felt, especially when your kids go through that 12 to 16, 17, 18 phase, did you feel like I need to slow down or accelerate at any given age that your child was at, because you thought that needed more attention and you kind of slowed or accelerated the pace?
I think I was very fortunate in that space, because I had a very, 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 very supportive life partner. And he was an amazing dad. The camaraderie that he enjoys with my daughter, there are times when she actually tells me, Mom, don't worry, Dad's there, he'll handle it. So I think that role was so well played by him that it kind of really balanced out the fact that I was really missing in a lot of places, because of my travel. And Tia was by and large a very happy child. But I won't say that there are times that she's regretted me not being around. But I think if one overall analyzes, her whole upbringing, today she's really happy with what I've done with my life. She's really proud of what I've done. And, I think, she probably has forgiven me those little pitfalls.
I'm sure our kids have no other choice, especially if they have women as mums who are like hustlers and they just want to get their way and manage it all, right?
Totally.
While we conclude, Bhavna, what have been a few of the toughest challenges and how have you managed to emerge? Like, what's the talk that you do with yourself as you emerge from them?
So the toughest challenge for me has always been, how do I better myself? Honestly, it has never been, about fearing competition or, fearing that, whether I will be how will I make myself relevant, after even 2 decades. It has really been that, this is what I've done. Now the next step, how am I going to better this?
Yeah.
So those are challenges for me, and I have to work very hard towards it. We started our collaboration with Swarovski. We did a range that was hugely successful. And at that point of time, I was like, oh my God, now what? Like, we've done this. We've entered the luxury space, co-branding ourselves with Swarovski. What more? And then Rosenthal happened to us. We did Rosenthal and Versace together. Post that, we said, okay, now we've done that. Now what more? And now in the, the 2 decades completion, we've tied up with Ladro. And we are doing a beautiful range with Ladro, which we are co-branding with them using all their figurines, in our concepts. And they are just so hugely popular and doing so well. So I think the challenges are these, when you want to keep running, to stay in the same place.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. This has been an incredible chat, and I'm so happy to know the backstory to, I think, one of the highest KSP award winners that there have been in the personalized gifting category, or in any category for that matter. How many awards has First Impressions won?
We've got 4, but we have 3 in the same row. You know,
Wow.
one break was because of COVID. We didn't have the awards,
Yeah.
otherwise it would be 4 years in a row.
Wow, this is incredible. But thank you so much. And what a inspiring journey full of patience, perseverance, and grit. I think it's commendable, Bhavna.
Thank you. Thank you for your kind words. I work very hard. I wake up every morning so I can hear this, you know, from people who love me, who love my work. And it's been a real pleasure. Thank you very much. And I'm really grateful that you called me on your platform to be able to tell my story to everybody. And I hope it inspires people.
I am very sure it will.